Hello, everyone. Listen, guys, I got to get something off my chest. But before I do that, because a lot of people that might not know me might see this video, I have been playing the Elder Scrolls since the first one. Arena. I played a ton of Daggerfall and have been a huge Elder Scrolls fan. I am so hyped for the changes coming, the multi-classing. I think it's great for the game. I think it's awesome. It feels like the older Elder Scrolls games. I love the tanking. I think the healing's in a decent place, and I think the DPS is an absolute dumpster fire. Okay, and here's the thing. But before this is going to be a rant. Okay, I just got to get this off my chest. Back in 2020, 21, sometime in there, I recently on a live stream, I read through all of the studio directors' letters, right? Matt Farrar, the guy in charge of all of Elder Scrolls Online. And, all the way back then, they were talking about like they got to get better at releases. The releases have been buggy, there's been issues and what have you, and it's not living up to their level. And then we just hear about that over and over again. It's what, 4 or 5 years later? Last year at the same time, whenever the PTS, the public test server, went live, where they asked a bunch of us players to go and test things out and give them feedback so that they could make the game better, we all took up that mantle and went and did it. All of us who could. Not everybody can. Sometimes people have, hardware issues or what have you. But we did. And we spent hours and hours of our time to try to help make the thing that we really like better. And for that, we got locked out of the game for over a week for many of us, and just completely overrode our characters, caused all kinds of issues, and it just sucked. It just sucked that you're volunteering. So this year, you would think that, after they've talked about, 4 or 5 years ago, that they're going to try to make the updates better and better, you would think that this public test run would be, they're going to make sure that this is done right. And I'll remind everybody that this is not a small indie company. They sold to Microsoft for billions of dollars, okay? So, a company worth billions of dollars, you'd think they'd know what's going on. And instead, this is what we get. I'm going to show you some in just a second, but first I want to point out too, just one more thing. The first time I quit Elder Scrolls Online, it was because of the lack of colorblind features. I was dying over and over again in Maelstrom Arena, and I had no idea why, and I'm colorblind, and I couldn't figure it out. Something like 10% of the male population is colorblind, and it's like 4% or 3% overall. They apparently don't have one person who is red-ring colorblind, the most common type of colorblindness, at ZeniMax Online. And then also they must not have any spouses, brothers or sisters, friends, children, or anything else. This new UI is not colorblind friendly with these bars. It's just not. And it's ridiculous that they can't test these things out. But that's one thing. All right, I'm colorblind, that's on me, whatever. Look at the way skills are casting right now. And if you don't know anything about Elder Scrolls, I'm pressing buttons. And it's just like the crazy things are happening. Skills are double casting or not casting at all. You can't tell when they go off. Absolutely no like visuals whatsoever. For example, I just dropped my ultimate and you couldn't even tell. There's zero visuals for that ultimate dropping. Nothing you could tell there except for that my character moved a little bit. And they said that they were going to put these, they were going to, have these updates go better. And then they made all these huge sweeping changes, and they did some absolutely harebrained things with the DPS. They increased the Arcanist beam to cause more damage. What are you smoking? What are you talking about? And then, all these skills, they clearly didn't spend any time. There was zero time spent testing anything. It's a public test, but typically you internally test beforehand. There's no way anybody tested this and said that it was good. Maybe they tested it and told everybody it's broken, it's a problem or whatever, and they just said, we don't care. But either way, no one, there's zero chance that someone tested this and thought it was okay. These skills are not firing. And then what that means is that the balance is so messed up with DPS right now, it's great for tanks. Whoever did the tanking balance should be put in charge of everything and given a team, okay? But the DPS is just such a dumpster fire right now of like imbalance, and there's only a couple skill lines that everybody's going to be using. And we're supposed to go on here and test things and give them feedback so that hopefully they can fix it for when it goes live for everybody else. And we can't even do that. You literally can't do that. I don't know if these skills are firing most of the time. I don't know if things are working right because there's zero visuals going on that make any sense. And so it's just absolutely crazy. Like, sure, people are getting big numbers or whatever, but like for me to go through and figure out if everything was actually working the way it was supposed to would take days and days of my time. And that's because I can't debug and debug the code and stuff like that. And it's just ridiculous. And I just have to say something. I don't understand how here's the thing. If we've all had that friend who's like had problems with relationships, okay? They just, relationship after relationship after relationship. They're like, man, like this guy, this girl, they're crazy, whatever. They have issues. If you have that friend and they've been having this issue for years, for literal years, at some point you got to be like, hey man, I think it's you. Okay, if Elder Scrolls Online has been having issues with these updates and putting things out in a finished, even semi-polished, but like just finished format for years, and every year we joke it's like, oh, every year is supposed to be like the year of bug fixes and whatever, and it never is. And then they brag about things like, oh, we're going to change the UI, and it's not even colorblind friendly. Like, it's mostly borrowed from an add-on that somebody else made that's not, that was community made, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. And I don't understand how a company that sells for billions of dollars can have such gross incompetence and negligence. I know there are great employees at ZOS. I know there are people that are working really hard and doing a really great job, but something is rotten at the top that this stuff would be a problem for like years and years, like the entire life of the game. And it seems like I want the game to succeed. For those who don't know, I run a trials guild where we help new people get into in-game content. And we're a bunch of Care Bears. We just want to help people. If people just absolutely cannot do the thing, we try to be absolutely as nice as possible. If we have to like say, hey man, it just doesn't seem like you can quite handle this, I'm sorry. We're a bunch of Care Bears. For people have told me that, okay? And it's just, that's what we try to do, is help people get in game. And when I see stuff like this, I'm just like, man, it just feels like a big middle finger to everybody who would go on the public test servers and try to help. That's what it feels like. It feels like a middle finger to the community, and it's incredibly frustrating, and I just had to say something. Anyways, I know every single time that I do a video saying anything negative about ZeniMax Online, I lose subscribers. But, I say great things too. I just have to give both sides. And this is just, I don't understand how, I hope someone at Microsoft sees this video and I hope they go, you know what, this is unacceptable. I'm going to go over there and heads are going to roll or whatever's going to happen, because this has been going on for years. You can go back and look at the director's letter about how they say that this was a problem. And I hope somebody at Microsoft, help me out, guys. Share this video, give it a thumbs up. I'll even demonetize it. I don't care about the money. It's not going to make that much anyways. I just want this fixed. I want the game that I like to work properly, and it's insulting that I would spend my time to come on the public test server to try to help make the game better, and this is the state. It's in such a state that I can't do it. And so what's going to happen, for those of you who don't know, is that they're not going to get the feedback they need in the time they need it in. They're going to get also still, it's in such a poor state for DPS that they're probably going to get more feedback than they could even do anything with anyways, because they should have tested this internally or even looked at it on paper, and you could figure out a lot of things needed to be changed. And apparently there's no one with that competency at ZeniMax right now. And I hope that someone at Microsoft sees this, and I hope they make changes, because if something's been going on for years, it's not the game that's a problem. It's clearly someone in charge that is the problem, and it's not an employee. It's not like they've got one employee who's not doing their job. It's clearly something at the top, and these people are making a lot of money, and I just can't understand it. So I just had to say something. Guys, I know it's a negative video. I'm going to have a really nice video talking about how great all the changes are out very soon. I've already recorded it, and it's not all negative, but man, it just seems unacceptable to me. And I don't understand how a company that, again, sold for billions of dollars could be this incompetent. Like it's beyond what I can comprehend. Anyways, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments if you feel the same way, or tell me I'm wrong. I'm fine with that too. Maybe I'm in my own head too much and I'm just blowing this all out of proportion. Appreciate you guys watching. We'll see you soon.